Are you ready to save more money? In this video, we are going to walk you through 5 steps that you can take today to save as much as $5,000 in 5 months. My name is Carmen.
And I'm Darius. And the first thing first, we need to have a reason why we want to save $5,000 in the first place. Because here's the thing, if you don't have a reason why you want to save $5,000, then you're probably not going to do it. Maybe that's the reason why you don't have $5,000 right now is because you don't have a good enough reason why. So the very first step is you need to understand your why.
And diving right into it. So we're like that. 30 seconds in, we got the first point out. So with the why statement, a lot of times people jump into things and they don't understand why they want to do it. And that's why
there's actually a whole book on that.
Using why a lot. And the reason being is because sometimes we just get stuck in this shiny object syndrome. We love one thing today and then we love something else tomorrow and the next day. So the point of understanding your why is you determining what is going to keep you on track and what are the values and what are the goals that you specifically have that you know is important to you. Because when you think about saving money and you say, I want to save money so I can do XYZ for my children, I want to do XYZ for my family, or I'm saving for a trip, or I'm saving to pay something off, whatever it is, you understand that there's a bigger purpose in mind instead of just, I want to save money because I don't really have a why. So anything that we do, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we do. You always need to have a why around it. And your why has to be something that's strong enough that's going to keep you motivated.
Right. And that's key. Your motivation is key. In anything that we do or want to accomplish, we have to do something consistently over and over again so that we can get the results that we want. If we want to lose weight, we have to cut back on our eating or change what we're eating. Maybe not eat as much sugary foods as possible, but we have to consistently do it in order for us to get the results that we want. If we want to do better with our finances, we have to do the exact same thing. It starts with our why.
Yeah. And I want to continue to reiterate on this a little bit because I just feel like this is something that a lot of people maybe aren't aware of.
Take for granted because it has nothing to do with what's going on around you. It has everything to do with the way you think.
And what's inside.
Right. Yeah. And the most important thing for us is how we think.
Yeah. That just took me somewhere because like you said, it's easy for us to blame all of our external factors. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. It was Instagram. It was Facebook. It was blah, blah, blah.
It was the weather.
Yeah, I didn't want to go outside today. But really, it's always an internal factor. They always say the roots create the fruits. And so whatever is happening internally, you got to get in check with because the reason why you're not accomplishing your goals, the reason why you don't have money in savings is because it has to do with something internally that you have to get clarity on. And a lot of times, if we're not in touch with our why we're doing things, the purpose of us going to work every day and making money, if we don't have clarity on that, it's going to be easy for you to blame external factors and say, I don't have money because of whomever it is.
Because of the weather.
Because of the weather.
Yeah. Now, the second thing that we want to, the second step that you need to take is you need to identify how much you're saving, if you're saving at all. Because your savings is what's going to get you to that $5,000. What we need to get to is $1,000 per month. So savings, what we're saving right now is our step there, our first step towards that goal, because we have the why, we have the motivation. How much are we currently saving and how much can we afford to set aside so that we can accomplish this $5,000 goal that we're setting for ourselves?
But wait a second, Darius and Carmen, I can't save any money because all of my money is spoken for before I even get my paycheck.
And that goes back to that the excuses part where is our why stronger than the what you have going on externally.
Yeah. You ain't saved money, but you got some fresh kicks.
Exactly. You going out to eat.
You trying to hang out, trying to hang on the block.
Right.
So I was saying that to be devil's advocate because
gas up, but you ain't sitting at the house.
Yeah. You out.
Yeah. Gas prices.
And again, we're preaching to the choir. We're just making light of the situation, but really you need to get in check with this. So with the savings piece of it, identify what are you saving, if you're even saving at all. And if you are saving, amazing. How can you consistently do that? And how can you maybe even be more aggressive with it? And if you're not saving, then you need to figure out why you're not saving in the first place. Because if you don't have any money set aside for yourself, what we like to call it is an opportunity fund, in the event opportunities arise, Houston, we have a problem. Yeah, and we need to figure something out.
Another habit we need to have anyway is we need to be paying ourselves first, because Carmen says, the work is worthy of the wage.
Worker is worthy.
The worker is worthy of the wage. We should be paying ourselves first before paying anybody else, because we're the one that's out there working. So paying ourselves first is the next habit that you need to put in place. Because when it comes to this $5,000 for in 5 months, it's not about just putting ourselves on this financial diet and then once we get to $5,000 then we stop. We need to create habits,
a lifestyle.
It starts with the way we think, and then we need to consistently start paying ourselves first.
I'm glad you said that, because diets don't work.
No, they don't.
Diets don't work because it's a temporary mindset instead of thinking of a lifestyle shift of how am I literally going to change the habits that I have in place today to ensure that I create better habits that will sustain themselves for years to come. So jumping into the third point is Darius was saying we got to save money, figure out how much money you're saving. The step number 3 is diving in a little bit more and figuring out what are your numbers. So evaluate how much money you're spending on a monthly basis. And this is something that it's important for you, again, to be in check with, because what we found, and this is just information you can find online, is
that's simpledollar.com for one.
Yeah. Is that entertainment. Can you imagine the average person spends $200 a month on entertainment? That's a lot of money when you think about it.
Right. It is, especially when you have other goals that you're trying to get to. Maybe you want to save $5,000 so you can go on some type of trip or go to a concert or something. That's entertainment, but still, you have to be aware of what are you spending money on that you can make a decision to cut back on.
Yeah.
Like you can't cut your mortgage because you have to have some place to stay. You can't cut your water bill because you need water. But some of the flexible expenses that we have, like entertainment, we can easily say, okay, I'm not going to go out this weekend because there's a bigger reason why I want to save this money instead of spending it.
So that's just entertainment.
That's just entertainment.
And eating out is, again, another $200, $232 the average person spends in eating out a month. And that adds up. And we're just talking monthly. So let's add this up every 6 months, every 12 months, and then every year, every 2 years, every 3 years. You see where I'm going? All of that money is just accumulating to go away from you. And now you don't have anything to set aside for yourself.
Right.
So already we're giving you all ideas and things that you can go identify right now and figure out, okay, do I need to go out to eat every week? Do I need, and again, we're not telling you not to enjoy yourself. We're just saying if you have specific goals, maybe it might make sense for you to prioritize those goals temporarily until you have your savings to where you want to be. And then we can reevaluate how you then allocate your funds again so that you can ensure that you're making the most of life.
Yeah. Now there's a third thing that we spend money on, in doing some research, is that people spend on average $161 per month on clothes. $161 per month. So if we take $161 of the clothes the average person spends, the eating out $232, and the entertainment of $200, that's $593 right there that the average person can save, and it gets them closer to that goal. Because remember, $5,000 in 5 months means we need to save $1,000 a month. So if this is you, then you can immediately reduce those things for a month. Not go out to eat for a month. Not buy clothes
Start
for
cooking.
a month. Yeah. Not go out for a month. That's $593 right there. And that's $1,000. So you need another $407 to get you to your goal.
I like how you're doing all of this in your head. I'm like, yeah, I think that's right. Let's fact check them, ladies and gentlemen. So again, in all seriousness, we got you almost a little bit more than half of the way there as far as savings and how you can start curbing some of the spending that you have. So really, again, it's up to you to go evaluate your numbers again and figure out where can you curb some of the spending so that you can start stacking money for your opportunity fund.
Right, because everybody's financial makeup is a little different. So you have to be able to look at your own numbers. We gave you some ideas, but your financial makeup is going to be different from ours. Yours is going to be different from your friends. It's going to be different from your neighbors. We all have a different, unique financial makeup, kind of like a thumbprint.
Yeah. And to that point, because we had mentioned eating out. And all of this runs together. And I think that's one thing that we really enjoy about money is because there's psychology with this, that there's so many other deeper rooted things that are that is attributed to money that we don't necessarily consider. And so for me, that's what I really enjoy about this topic is realizing that it's really about psychology. So if you're eating out,
that's a book too, Psychology of Money.
Yeah, exactly. If you're eating out more than you are cooking at home, take a look at your current health. What does your current health look like? Because if you're dependent on someone else to cook, then you don't know what the ingredients are. You don't know necessarily what you're eating, yada, yada, yada. You see where I'm going with this. And then that may affect your numbers as far as blood levels and things like that. So now look at that. What does your health look like? How does your direct spending of eating out affect what your health is looking like? The next thing is, how does your spending affect your entertainment? Like the entertainment piece, it is important for you to do that. Are you hanging around the right people? Are you spending your money responsibly? Because a lot of the folks that we hang out with, who we value their time, we know that they're not trying to be out frivolously spending money. We're all out trying to figure out how we're going to save a few bucks because we don't want to be spending money and giving people our money. So again, who are you hanging out with? Are those people trying to always be out trying to spend a buck and or impress people or whatever the case may be? And then the clothing that's directly.
As you said that, I thought about it, like our friends now compared to our friends we had like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Our friends now motivate us to not spend as much money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do your friends motivate you to spend money or not spend as much money?
No, I mean, it's simple. Like a conversation with one of our great friends. We were talking about coffee and how he was saying he makes coffee at home because he doesn't want to spend $10 at Starbucks every day.
Right. Because it adds up.
And it adds up. And we're like, yeah, you're right. As we were sipping our Starbucks coffee. but it does put things into perspective. So what do? We went and bought a coffee bag so that we can keep the coffee at home.
Yeah, we had another friend that had on some really nice pants, and I was like, man, where'd you get those pants from? Target. Okay.
I see you. We was at Target the next day.
Yeah. Like those look comfortable.
So again, you see where we're going here. And then the same thing with clothing, that the clothing affects things. I know we have many sneakerheads out there, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we also have to just make sure that we're spending our money responsibly. Yeah. Because clothes, the food, and entertainment isn't going to pay the bills.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys knew what type of sneakers I wear, you'd be like, "Oh man, Darius is a straight up dad."
Well, you are a dad. Nothing wrong with dad shoes.
But I dress for comfort, and I love my Asics. Like I don't know what I'd do without shoes as comfortable as a pair of Asics.
But hold up, Asics are expensive. They can be expensive, but they last.
Yeah, you get 300 to 500 miles on it.
Who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting?
All right, so let's jump into point number 4. So point number 4 is, now that we know this information, let's put the plan in place. And the plan that you're going to put in place is understanding how much money you are going to start saving every single month. The number is up to you because it's really going to depend on your income, right? How much money do you have that you can save readily available to you, and something that you can be consistent with?
Yeah, and how easy is it for you to make some of these adjustments? Because if you have to like drastically change your lifestyle in order to be able to save $1,000 a month, then it's going to be more difficult for you to do it. You need to be able to make some small tweaks and work your way up to where you want to go, or just be able to make some small tweaks to get you where you need to be. But any drastic thing is going to be really hard for you to do.
And we're saying this like it's going to be an easy switch, but it's not. It's difficult because there's so many other outlining factors that go into this. It's not just about adding up numbers on the spreadsheet. It's about saying no.
Yeah.
To the wants and desires that you need or that you think you need, and getting clear with what it is that you actually need. Think about that. The times that you go to try to spend money, you don't think anything about it, but now that you're aware of it, and you start thinking like, oh man, I really don't need this purchase. And how do you keep yourself from making that purchase, even though that you know, like, you're in an emotional moment at that time? You know,
because
what I mean?
there's no consequences. Because let's think about it. How many people have you talked to that had some issues with their taxes that got their act together immediately?
Yeah.
Because if you don't pay your taxes, you're going to jail.
Yeah,
that's motivation. When it comes to saving $5,000 for you to go on a trip, and you don't do it, well, you just don't go on the trip. You fine. The trip will always be there.
Yeah.
So there's no consequences. So depending on what you're trying to accomplish, you have to take all those things into consideration, because those consequences help with the way you think about it.
You're right. I don't know why that tickled me so much, but it's true. With anything, that there's always some sort of motivating factor. That's why we have to go all the way back to your why. Your why has to be that motivating and driving factor. I'm trying to go to jail right now. But whatever it is your motivating factor. It has to be that strong, like that literal. Think about that. It has to be that literal to make you do something, to make you take action.
Yeah, taxes will make you turn the water off. You're like, you know what? I wash up at work.
Oh, God.
Running in jail. Taxes will put you in jail. Drastic changes, turn the water off.
Drastic changes, cause for drastic measures. Measures, changes. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, okay. So the last point that we're going to hit you with, the last point number 5, is be consistent. What? That's kind of common sense, but it's not. Because what happens is we do very well the first month and we're like, we did it, yay, pat on the back. And then something happens the second month that derails us. Maybe that shiny object syndrome, the devil gets in your ear, and now you're like, oh, maybe I should go out. And then you have to go back and figure out those habits again. What is the new lifestyle that you want for yourself, and how can you continue to live in that lane? So again, be consistent. You got to do it for month number 2. Guess what? Month number 3 is going to come around. Your homie has a birthday, and they're about to go out. They're about to do it big. They're going to pop bottles. What are you going to do? Because you know that's going to cost you some money. Not saying you can't do it. Did you plan for that event? Did you plan to be able to do that, and that it's not going to affect what you have going on right now? Think about it. Month number 4 comes around. Month number 5. It's a long, arduous process. We are not sitting here to make it seem like it's like going to change overnight. It's going to be a process, and you have to also know to give yourself grace. You are human. It is okay if you make mistakes, but you have to learn from those mistakes and keep moving forward. As Denzel Washington says, fall forward, not backward.
Yeah,
what does he say? It's so dope. I don't want to mess it up because it's so dope, but he says, like, you want to fall forward because you want to see what you're hitting. And if you fall backwards, you can't see what you're hitting. And that goes back to those consequences. Sometimes you don't realize with your financial consequences, when you fall back, you don't necessarily know how it's going to affect you, but then it hits you because you realize like you can't afford a medical bill, or you can't afford, whatever it is that you're trying to do. And why is that? It's the result of a decision that you made that you didn't realize how that was going to affect you.
Yeah. Now,
oh, give me some. That was good, wasn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I'm sorry. I was feeling myself on that one.
It's good. So it was good. It's good. Just to bring it back, when it comes to consistency, we have to really consider lifestyle changes. Lifestyle changes is really where you want to be. And the steps that we told you, the 5 steps that we went over, you really have to make this a part of your lifestyle. Yeah. And again, if we make drastic changes, it's going to be really hard for us to consistently do those because they're so drastic. So what are the small wins that we can have? What are the small things that we can do over and over again so that we establish a habit? Because let's just go back to food. If you go on a diet, that's why diets don't work, because you haven't made the adjustment in your lifestyle. Same thing is going to be the key when it comes to your finances. These 5 steps need to be a lifestyle change. So not only do you have $5,000 in 5 months, but maybe in a year you have $12,000 because you've made the adjustments.
Yeah, and going back to the motivation, you were thinking about that. People make drastic changes when they're faced with
issues, adversity.
Yeah, something that they have to do. So when you think about your health, God forbid somebody has a heart attack, all of a sudden they have to change their diet. They have to change their lifestyle if they want to continue to live their lives. So we want you to think about your finances in that literal form, because money affects everything. Money affects the roof that you have over your head. It's going to affect your health because of stress. You think of 50% of marriages end because of financial turmoil amongst couples, the death rate, suicide, things like that affects everyone. Finances, depression. So you really have to get in touch with what you're doing. And we're having a serious moment now because it's important. It's really important that you understand how your finances affect you mentally, physically, and spiritually, because they do.
Right. And if you don't have $5,000 right now, you can make the adjustments because you have a choice.
Yes.
Maybe something will come up where you don't have a choice. Maybe that choice will be taken away from you and you have to do it. But right now you have a choice. If you're watching this video, I think you have a choice. So make the decision to make small adjustments so that you can build up to it until so that you don't get to a point where something happens where you don't have a choice but to change. Then you have to make drastic changes in your life that is going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It might be even painful.
And I think the one thing that we haven't addressed throughout this whole video is the breath of fresh air that you can enjoy and the sigh of relief that you can have knowing that you have something on the side for opportunities. I can't tell you how that changed our lives once we realized that, man, we have money set aside that if there was anything that we ever needed, we could do it. And we always talked about this. The minute that we had the money available, we never needed it. Why was it? You know, it's a mindset shift. Why is it that when we never had it, we always needed it? You know what I'm saying? But when we had it, we didn't have any issues come up. We didn't have emergencies. We didn't have things like that because we had the money available. Yeah. So just think about the energy that you're putting out there. Again, just the spiritual energy that you're putting out there and figuring out how you can change your lifestyle so that you can stop having hardships and turmoils and things coming your way. It's all about the things that you think about, because what you think about, you bring about.
Yeah, think about how
stack your cash.
Yeah, think about how different your life would be if you didn't have to worry about money. What would you use that brain energy or brain power to focus on then? Woo. If you didn't have to worry about not having.
Yes.
What if you had? What if you have?
Absolutely.
What do you think would be different?
Now, guess what? Now that you have a plan in place and you're going to start stacking money, then definitely check out our next video so you can learn how to keep the money going and obtain passive income.
Remember to own your own lifestyle,
or someone else will.